And welcome to Roanoke County Today, a half-hour program dedicated to providing information of use to Roanoke County citizens. I'm Teresa Hall. Coming up, we'll have tips on how to protect yourself and your loved ones from financial scams, plus information you need to know about some changes coming to the county's recycling and streetlight programs. Hope you'll stay with us. We'll be right back.
Higher electric bills, sticker shock at the gas pump, energy can cost a ton, but it's easy to save money and give your budget a boost. Save hundreds of dollars in energy costs by doing just a little. As much as half of the energy used in your home goes to heating and cooling. You can save a ton by making sure your home is properly sealed and insulated against the elements. Caulk window and door frames, wiring and pipe penetrations, and anywhere air leaks. Weather strip around loose window sashes and doors. Remember, do a little, save a ton.
Hello, we're here at Roanoke County's Law Enforcement Training Facility near Dixie Caverns, which is about to celebrate the completion of a new project. I'm joined by Roanoke County Police Officer Jason Walls and Roanoke County student Aaron Hawkins, and they're here to talk a little bit more about this unique project just behind us. You know, Officer Walls, we have a driver training facility, a firing range. Now we have this unique structure behind us. Tell us a little bit about what the purpose is for this building.
This particular building is going to be the chemical munitions building that our SWAT team is going to use for training. A lot of times we have situations involving hostages at residence, and they have to use chemical munitions to make access to the home to help to deal with that hostage situation. Or sometimes we have people who have warrants on them that we know to be in that residence, and we use chemical munitions in an effort to get them out of the residence.
So this training facility here fits in well with the whole facility that's up here at Dixie Caverns.
That's correct, yes ma'am.
Now we talked a little bit about it being unique, and that's because we have students behind us who are actually constructing the building. Tell us about that arrangement, which I understand you're heading up.
Yes ma'am, since September we've had the masonry class at Burton Center for Arts and Technology and the building trades class involved in this project. There again, we started in September, and currently, as you can see behind us, we're putting the roof on and getting very close to completion, hopefully by the end of this month.
And Aaron, you are in what grade?
I'm in 11th grade, a junior at William Byrd High School.
And what's it been like to work on this project and get the hands-on experience?
It's been pretty fun. I'd consider myself a pretty hands-on guy, and I love working with my hands and doing projects, and being able to come out here and help Officer Walls and Roanoke County Police in building this has been a great opportunity for me. Have
you been able to sort of build a relationship or one that already existed with Officer Walls and kind of build on that?
Yeah, we a little joking around and all that, just getting to know each other and get real friendly and be real close and be able to joke around with each other.
And also pick up a trade. I mean, getting hands-on experience, there's nothing like that.
Yes, ma'am.
Officer Walls, it's been, I'm sure, a great experience for you, also being able to interact and work with the students, helping them to build upon their trade skills, and then also network and get to know these young people.
It's been a great opportunity for me. A lot of times in the school resource officer setting, we don't get this kind of interaction with the students. This has been a great opportunity for me to get to know the students more on a one-to-one basis, get to know what their interests and things are, try to encourage those interests, whatever they might be. Additionally, it's been exciting for me at points in times when I've seen the students succeed in some aspect of the building project and just really light up and get excited about being able to complete that task.
It's early February now, but you've actually been working on this structure since, I believe, September?
Yes, ma'am.
And how has it been made possible?
Roanoke County Police Department has funded all the material cost, and then additionally all the labor, on the other hand, has been provided by the students in Burton.
Great cost savings.
Yes. We estimate a cost savings between $5,000 to $6,000, but it's more, the way I look at it, it's a more win-win situation. The students are getting a hands-on training, and the county is saving money.
And how do the other students view it, Aaron?
The other students at first when we were coming up here working in the cold, they were a little iffy about it, but now that we've been up here and we've got acquainted with everyone throughout the school year this year, and just being able to work together and getting to know each other and their strengths and weaknesses and working together to come through, it's been a great opportunity for all of us.
I'm sure, and just seeing the results of your hard work too, right behind us. Officer Walls, when do you plan to have this
We're hoping to be
constructed?
completed by the end of February, at the latest maybe mid-March.
Well, it does seem like a win-win project for both the students and for Roanoke County police officers.
Yes, ma'am, I agree.
All right, well, congratulations and best of luck to both of you in the future, and we look forward to coming back up here and checking out the facility and seeing what the finished product looks like. All right, and stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.
I'm bored.
Let's go to Green Ridge, where I can get a workout.
Take a class.
Play ball.
Go swimming!
And learn something new.
Get involved at Green Ridge. Healthy fun for everyone.
Welcome back. I'm Dan O'Donnell, Assistant County Administrator, and I'm here today with Brent Robertson, who is the Director of the Department of Management and Budget for Roanoke County, and we're here to talk a little bit about the county budget process that we are right in the middle of at this point. Welcome, Brent.
Thank you.
Could you tell us about the budget process? When does it begin? Where are we in the process? And when does it finish?
I'd be happy to. The budget process is really kind of a continuous process we have here at the county. There's always development, analysis, implementation, or evaluation going on. However, for the development of the fiscal 13 budget, we're kind of what I would call right in the middle of the process right now. It began probably around October or so when we started developing the capital improvement program that would be submitted to the board during the winter. Currently, departments are developing their expenditure requests for the fiscal 13 budget. We will go through that with the county administration and work sessions with the Board of Supervisors, with the county administrator bringing a proposed budget to the Board of Supervisors probably the first meeting in April.
Mm-hmm. And the fiscal year begins July 1st, so we have basically between now and April to have it finished, and then it goes into effect July 1st.
Correct, and there'll be some administrative procedural issues where the board will do a final official adoption of the budget, which right now is tentatively scheduled for the last meeting in May.
Okay, great. As you know, the governor released his budget back in December to the state legislature. How does the state budget impact the county budget? Are there big implications for our budget based on what the state's doing?
Yes, absolutely. If you look at the state allocation to Roanoke County for budget purposes, it doesn't appear to be that much. It's only about 6% of our overall budget, which equates to just a little under $10 million. However, if you look at the areas that funds, it's very significant. Some of the areas that are funded with state allocations include the Department of Social Services, the constitutional officers, which is the Commonwealth Attorney, the Sheriff, the Treasurer, Clerk of the Court, Commissioner of Revenue, as well as law enforcement. So there's some very important areas that if funding is changed or decreased, it could be very significant for us.
Mm-hmm. Now, in addition to the state budget implications, our local and national economy, as we all know, hasn't fared as well as we'd like in the past. Can you tell us about some of the challenges that the economy has, especially on the revenue side of the budget?
Right. I'll be happy to. I think, we're in 4 years of kind of economic decline, or at least stagnation, and we've been more fortunate than other localities here in Roanoke County with a good, diverse economic base in the Roanoke Valley. Our largest revenue category is property taxes, both personal and real estate property taxes, and they've been rather stagnant, and this year actually declined for real estate values this year. So we're going to be looking at a kind of a negative revenue growth in those areas. So that's very concerning to us, and I think will have some pretty significant implications for this year's budget development. Some of those areas that are more what I call directly economically driven, meals tax, sales tax, hotel motel tax, business license taxes, we're seeing a little better movement in those compared to the last 3 years or so. And I think that reflects some of the national numbers and indicators we're seeing. So, but that once again is a very small part of our budget compared to the property taxes. So there's areas that we have a little optimism in, there are areas that we're very concerned, and then the final area that I would consider would be our intergovernmental revenues, which I think is still a concern to us because the state and federal levels are dealing with fairly significant budget deficits as well.
So whereas 4 or 5 years ago we were seeing significant increases in revenue, I guess at this point we're not going to see that in the near future.
That's correct. I believe our preliminary projections show an overall growth of about a -0.5% this year.
So actually a little bit of a decrease in the money we have to work with.
Correct, and we do foresee that in the next few years in the near term.
And given these revenue restrictions from the economy and just the way the budget is working at this point, what has the Board of Supervisors directed us to do in terms of the budget? What are your directives at this point?
The directives from the Board of Supervisors for this budget development season are similar to what they've been the last 3 years during this economic downturn, and that has been to, first and foremost, no tax increases for property taxes, right. No layoffs of existing staff, and no reductions in core services that the citizens would see or feel the impact of. And that's becoming more and more difficult. Once again, that's the same directives the Board has given us the last 3 years, but we've been faced with stagnant or declining revenues, budget requests that have been unable to be funded, as well as just the long-term continuation of this economic kind of stagnation that we're dealing with, while service demands in some areas have increased. And those are areas such as police, fire and rescue, social services, are all areas that during this economic downturn we've seen increases in service demands.
And one of the things that we're having to wrestle with is the state retirement system.
Yes.
There's an increase in expenditures. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, due to some future liabilities in the state retirement system, all localities in Virginia, both governments and school systems, will be faced with pretty significant increases in retirement costs. That's for Roanoke County. Our preliminary estimates are figuring about $2.5 million we're going to be looking at in this next fiscal year. Related to that, the Board of Supervisors and the County Administrator has indicated that salary increases for employees are a priority of theirs, and we've attempted to work in, at least from a preliminary standpoint, some type of increase for employees for salaries next year as well.
Of course, that's not promised, but seeing it's been approximately 3.5 years since salary increases for any county employees, I understand why they would make that a priority, because we have great people that work for Roanoke County, and as the demands go up, they're working harder and harder to keep those services delivered. So.
Oh, absolutely. And in some areas, staffing has been reduced over this three-year period, while service delivery has been maintained at the same level. So that you're correct. That is a high priority of the Board and the County Administrator.
Well, it's going to be a challenging budget, and we appreciate all you and your department does to wrestle through all those tough issues. I'm sure we'll figure it all out eventually, but it's going to be a tough road to hoe.
I believe it is,
so,
yes.
So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Interested in keeping up with Roanoke County? Follow us on Twitter and Facebook, or find us on YouTube. For a link to county departments using social media to communicate, visit our website at roanokecountyva.gov. There's recently been some discussion in the community about the county's recycling program. Nancy DeVal is the county's solid waste manager and is here to talk about how the program works and about some concerns that we've heard raised in the community about some issues regarding the program itself. Before we get started, let's go ahead and talk about how does the county's recycling program work?
We have trailers, we have trailers like this that we have out at 5 different locations around the county, and citizens can drive up pretty much any time, and they're there 24/7. They can drive up and put their material into the trailers.
And what types of materials can you drop off?
You can drop off plastics 1 through 7, mixed paper, and aluminum, mixed metal, excuse me, aluminum and mixed metal.
And in terms of boxes, it's important to also flatten those boxes when you do bring them by.
That's one of the most important things, because we do have a limited amount of space. We do try to check them every day and empty them every day if necessary, but the space is limited. And if the boxes aren't broken down, they take up a lot of the room that we have in these trailers.
And actually contributes to some of the problems that we've been having. There's been some media reports about some of the issues surrounding the county's recycling trailers, because it's kind of been creating messes in certain spots by people who drive up and the trailers are full and then leave their materials outside.
That does seem to be the biggest issue that we're having. And it's mainly for the paper part. They come up and they've got their newspaper in their boxes and everything, and they look in there and they see that it's full, and rather than waiting or taking it to another one of our locations, they just set it down on the ground. And this time of year, conditions that we have, it's very windy and the material gets spread all over the surrounding areas, and it's a lot to clean up. Yes.
Have there been any consequences to some of this?
Yes, there has been a consequence. One of our most popular locations, Oak Grove Elementary, due to this issue of people not only putting stuff on the ground, putting stuff that shouldn't even be there, like car parts and vacuum cleaners and bags of leaves, and the school system has requested that trailer no longer be left there, because they were starting to worry about the mess it was making and even safety to the children.
It's understandable. Well, I know one of the big problems has been the recycling trailers get overloaded on the weekend, especially Monday. People have cleaned out over the weekend, so maybe consider going and dropping off your items at the recycling trailer on a different day of the week, instead of so many folks coming out on the weekends to do so.
That's exactly right. And our two most used locations are here at Hidden Valley and then at Cox Cable, and we put 2 trailers out there at each one of those for the weekend.
Okay.
But you're right, it helps if they can just go any point during the week, rather
Tuesday
than everybody
through Thursday.
going on Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
It would certainly help that situation.
Right. Well, we do have several locations for the recycling trailers throughout the community. If you want a list of those, where would you go?
To our website.
Okay, so all of that information is listed, the locations, but also the types of materials that are accepted?
Yes, ma'am. They're all listed on there.
And it's under RoanokeCountyVA.gov, correct? And the phone number?
It's 387-6225.
All right, Nancy, thank you so much for providing an update on the recycling program. We appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
And stay with us. There's much more Roanoke County Today to come.
Higher electric bills, sticker shock at the gas pump, energy can cost a ton, but it's easy to save money and give your budget a boost. Save hundreds of dollars in energy costs by doing just a little. An average household dedicates 11% of its energy budget to lighting. Using new lighting technologies can reduce energy use by 50 to 75%. One of the easiest and most cost-effective ways to cut energy bills is to replace conventional light bulbs with compact fluorescent lamps. They're more efficient and last 6 to 12 times longer. Remember, do a little, save a ton.
Roanoke County has temporarily lifted the freeze on accepting new streetlight applications. Arnold Covey is director of Roanoke County's Community Development Department and is here to explain what this means for the citizen. Arnold, thank you so much for taking the time to share this information with us. My understanding essentially is that the county has not been accepting applications for new streetlights for about 2 years due to budgetary concerns. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But now we have this window that's about 90 days?
That's correct. Till April 27th of this year, we'll be accepting applications for streetlights throughout Roanoke County.
And what's on that application?
The application is very simple. Just the owner's name, who's making the request, the street location, and just general information as far as, and if they can put any information where they would consider the street light to be installed.
Okay, and you take that application, you look through all of that, and then you have some evaluation criteria, right?
That's correct. We have an evaluation form that was approved by the board in 1986. This evaluation form looks at road configurations, curves, steep grades, intersection locations, those type of things to see if the light may qualify.
So if you meet all of those conditions or a certain number of those conditions, the county will then come in and install and pay for the street light. Is that correct?
That's correct. If your score is 70 and above, we'll come in, and at that point we will send the information to AEP and with the locations where the streetlights qualify, and then the AEP is responsible for the installation of the lights.
Now I know there's been some questions from folks in the community. I'd like a street light because I'm concerned that there's been maybe an increase in crime in my area. That's a factor, but not all of the factors that go into evaluating the criteria, correct?
That's correct. Normally we try to instruct people to consider a dusk to dawn light if they're concerned about break-ins or those type of things. Street lights work if it qualifies. A lot of times people be in the cul-de-sacs and they say, it's dark back here, we like a street light. A lot of cases those do not qualify. So we recommend people to contact AEP considering a dusk to dawn light.
This is a lot of information. Has your staff been working to put some of this on the county's website?
Yes, we've got the application form on the county's website, as well as the process to go through, the contact information. All can be achieved or reached at our website. Okay, and if you don't have access to a website, you have a phone number for folks to call? You can call 772-2080. We'll be glad to send you the information. All right, and again, give us that window that we have for accepting applications for the street lights. We've got a 90-day window, and it expires April 27, 2012. All right, so folks need to get to work if that's what they want to do, and get the applications in pretty quickly. And once those go in, Arnold, how long does it take typically to evaluate those? We try to get the evaluations done within a couple weeks, and then at that point we will forward that on to AEP, and hoping that the lights will be installed within 6 weeks. Sounds like you got a lot of work to do. Yes, we do. All right. Thank you so much for sharing this information with us, Arnold. I'm right. And stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.
Volunteer firefighters respond to all types of emergencies. Volunteer firefighters fight fires. Volunteer firefighters save lives. Do you have what it takes? Visit RoanokeCountyVA.gov/FRVolunteer or call 540-777-8706 to become a Roanoke County Fire and Rescue volunteer firefighter.
Welcome back to Roanoke County Today. For this segment of our show, we're going to be focusing on crime prevention. Joining me are Officer Eric Orange and Detective Jeremy McNeil. Gentlemen, thank you very much for taking the time out of your schedule to talk about what's actually becoming a growing problem, not in the big cities, but actually it's occurring there, but also here in Roanoke County. We're talking about scams, which can really happen to anyone of any age.
That's right, Teresa. We've seen a rash of scams pop up over the past few years. 3 in particular that we've seen more times than not the past few months is lottery scams. We have a lot of calls for service where individuals have been contacted reference lottery winnings, but in order to receive their funds, they have to send money off via Western Union to other countries.
And so people are actually falling for that.
That's correct. They're falling for this. Although they have not entered any lotteries, they're still sending the money off to unlock their winnings, which unfortunately does not exist.
You said this can happen to folks of any age, but is it particularly the elderly that are targeted with these types of scams?
Yes, a lot of times we see the elderly individuals are targeted primarily because they see them as victims, as easy targets.
So would you say it's important to educate your loved ones, let them know that these scams are out there if you have a grandmother, aunt, uncle, someone of that age?
That's right. Definitely educate your parents, your grandparents. And I always recommend that if you do have someone who is getting on up in age, and it's always good to have someone kind of look over their finances as far as a family member or a grandchild or a child, just to make sure that everything's looking good.
We talked about lottery scams. What else are you seeing?
We're also seeing scams involving individuals who are being contacted, primarily the elderly, being contacted, advised that their grandchild, their child is overseas, and was injured in some type of accident and requesting funds in order to pay a medical bill or get out of jail.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
That people would do that. And these are cases that have actually come into Roanoke County Detective Bureau.
That's correct. Matter of fact, we're working a couple of those right now. But unfortunately, our investigations show that the money is being sent overseas, which limits what we can do in order to retain their funds.
And we're not talking hundreds, but potentially thousands of dollars that these folks could be out of.
Correct.
Very sad. I can't believe people would do this to other people. And what else have you seen?
The third one that we see quite a bit of is individuals going on Craigslist, which is an old site, to purchase items or also look for employment. A lot of times individuals go on Craigslist looking for employment. They find a potential job, and they're contacted by that prospective employer.
Okay.
However, it turns out to be a scam, and basically the employer wants the individual to send them money in order to obtain information for the job and so forth.
So if somebody asks you to send money to give a job to you, just know right away.
Correct. You shouldn't have to pay for a job.
No, you shouldn't.
Correct.
Eric, you go out and give talks about crime prevention regularly to groups, organizations, businesses. What are some of the types of tips do you share stories like this and offer tips for protecting yourself?
I do, yes, ma'am. The program that I do is actually it's a shortened version of one of the programs that's taught to our basic academy that some of our fraud and identity theft detectives have put together. And I present information that, based on cases that we've worked here, not necessarily active or open cases, but experiences that we've had. And I update that information on a regular basis as new information comes along, as we see new trends in the area or in the valley. And for us, the biggest and most important part of it is education. Just as you and Jeremy have said yourself, if you get the information out there, you let people know what to look out for, the type of things to avoid. We find that goes a long way in preventing and protecting yourself against becoming a victim of these type of crimes.
I think Detective McNeil, we've talked before that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
More than likely so, yes.
And is it good to get your credit checked on a regular basis, or do you ever get that question from people?
Actually, that's part of the program that I put on in the presentation. If you go to annualcreditreport.com, it's a free service, and anyone can go on there and access that. And once a year, you can receive your credit report. No cost to you. There's no obligation after the fact, no follow-up requirements. And I recommend that everyone do it at least once a year. And it's a great opportunity for you to see where you stand, if you have any outstanding bills, services. And also, it gives you an opportunity to see if something's been put on your account fraudulently. You can go on there. It reports through the 3 major credit reporting agencies. And so you can confirm if there's been anything that's done on your account, activity that you may not have participated in yourself.
All right. Do any of these cases that you've worked, do any of these victims ever see the money again?
I would say no, more times than not. Most of the time we locate the suspects overseas and we have no jurisdiction there.
Is it surprising to see this type of crime here?
Not really, no. I think it's something that's gone to the larger cities and it's eventually came to Roanoke now.
Okay. Officer Orange, I know you go out and routinely give these presentations. If someone's watching and they'd like to have you come out and talk to a civic league or their business or community group, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
They can contact me via email or by phone. My email address is eorange@roanokecountyva.gov. And my office number is 540-777-8651.
And those presentations are a big part of your job because you're a community policing coordinator, correct?
That's correct. A lot of what my job consists of is public education.
All right. And Detective McNeil, when someone feels like maybe something's going wrong, perhaps they were a victim of a scam or maybe identity theft, something of that nature, what is the best procedure route for them to go to get in touch with someone with the police department?
If they believe they've been a victim of identity theft or a financial crime, they can contact the non-emergency number, which is 562-3265.
Okay. And an officer will more than likely give them a call.
That is correct.
All right. Well, some very valuable information that both of you have shared with us. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk about this unfortunate crime. All right. Thank you. And stay with us, everyone. There's much more Roanoke County Today to come.
The town of Vinton is open for business and is committed to improving customer service to its citizens and contractors. In the past, you may have had to wait as much as a day to get a permit for plumbing, electrical, or mechanical work. But things have changed. Now you can get over-the-counter permits in some cases before you walk out the door. We can even take credit card payments. This faster service is at no additional cost to the taxpayer. It's all part of the town's dedication to improving customer service. Find out more at vintonva.gov.
That's all for this edition of Roanoke County Today. Remember, for more information on events and programming, please visit our website at roanokecountyva.gov. Hope to see you again next month.